Look, the Blue Jays made a move that literally nobody is paying attention to, and honestly, it might be one of the smartest gambles they make all season. While everyone was losing their minds over Kyle Tucker and all the big splashy moves, Ross Atkins quietly brought back Eloy Jimenez on a minor league deal. And before you roll your eyes and click away, hear me out, because the reports coming out about this guy are actually insane. So let's talk about who Eloy Jimenez actually is. This isn't some washed-up journeyman who's been mediocre his whole career. We're talking about a former top prospect who absolutely demolished minor league pitching, batting .303 with 329 RBIs throughout his entire minor league run. This was a guy who nearly won Rookie of the Year. In 2020, he posted an .828 OPS. In 2022, he put up a ridiculous .858 OPS with a 141 OPS plus in 84 games. That's not just good, that's elite production from a designated hitter. Now I know what you're thinking. Yeah, Nick, but what about recently? Fair point. His 2024 was absolutely brutal. He finished with a .625 OPS at the major league level, and honestly, it was hard to watch. The guy looked lost at the plate, couldn't field worth a damn, and basically fell off the map. The Jays actually signed him last year to a minor league deal. He never appeared in a single game for them. His contract expired, and that was supposed to be the end of the story. But here's where it gets interesting. According to Hector Gomez and Mike Rodriguez, who are pretty plugged in with Latin American baseball, Eloy Jimenez is apparently in the best shape of his entire career. Not just good shape, the best shape he's ever been in. And he's not just saying the right things in interviews, he's actually backing it up on the field. In the winter leagues, this man led the entire league with 16 RBIs and hit 10 doubles, which was the most in the round-robin format. He's been working out twice a day, morning and afternoon sessions, completely transformed his body, and get this, he's playing above-average defense at first base. Mike Rodriguez actually went on record saying he's confident that if Eloy stays healthy and Toronto gives him playing time, he could hit 30 home runs with 90 RBIs and potentially be in the running for Comeback Player of the Year. Now, I'm not here to tell you he's definitely going to hit 30 bombs and drive in 90 runs. I'm also not guaranteeing he even makes the opening day roster. But what I am saying is that a guy who was absolutely elite just a couple years ago, who has completely transformed his body and is dominating winter ball at 29 years old, that's worth paying attention to. Let's pump the brakes for a second and be realistic about what we saw in 2024. His Savant page was rough. He still had solid exit velocities, which shows the raw power is there, but everything else was red. The defense was terrible, the sprint speed was non-existent, and he just looked like a shell of himself. But if you go back to his 2020 Savant, or even his 2022 numbers, you see a completely different player. The barrel rate was elite, the hard hit percentage was elite. The expected stats all suggested he should have been even better than his already impressive numbers. The thing about Eloy is that injuries absolutely derailed him. He was a 5-tool prospect coming up, one of those guys scouts drool over. He was ranked as a 52-grade player at his peak, which is incredibly rare. But the injuries piled up, he got out of shape, and everything just spiraled. What makes this situation different is that by all accounts, he's put in the work this offseason. He's rebuilt his body from the ground up. He's motivated to resurrect his career, and he's playing for his next contract. Now let's talk about how he fits with the Blue Jays. Right now, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is going to play first base every day. The designated hitter spot is going to rotate between Santander, Springer, and Kirk, depending on matchups and who needs a day off from the field. So where does Eloy fit? He becomes that backup first baseman, that guy who can spell Vladdy and give him a day off, similar to what they tried to do with Ty France at the deadline last year. The difference is Eloy actually has significant upside if he's healthy and right. Think about it from a roster construction standpoint. This is a zero-risk move. It's a minor league contract. If he shows up to spring training and looks terrible, you cut him and move on. But if he shows up looking like the guy who posted an 858 OPS in 2022, suddenly you have a legitimate power bat coming off your bench who can crush lefties and give you quality at-bats in high-leverage situations. That's the kind of depth piece that championship teams have. And here's the other thing nobody's talking about. Dave Popkins is a wizard. We've seen what he's done with other hitters who were supposed to be washed. If anyone can unlock whatever's left in Eloy's tank, it's Popkins. The Blue Jays' hitting infrastructure is legitimately one of the best in baseball right now. They've turned around careers before, and Eloy has way more raw talent than most of the reclamation projects they've worked with. Remember, this is a guy who wasn't just good, he was elite. In 2020, he had a 828 OPS. In 2022, he posted a 141 OPS plus. Even in 2023, when people were saying he was declining, he still put up a 758 OPS. That's not terrible. That's a perfectly serviceable bat. Obviously, 2024 was a disaster, but one bad year doesn't erase years of production, especially when that bad year coincides with obvious physical and health issues that he's now addressed. The beauty of this signing is that it gives the Blue Jays options. If George Springer continues to decline or can't stay healthy, if Kirk's bat doesn't bounce back, if Santander struggles against lefties, you potentially have another weapon in your arsenal. Eloy isn't going to be an everyday player, but he doesn't need to be. He just needs to be a guy who can give you 250 at-bats of quality production, hit 15 home runs, drive in 40 runs, and be a positive presence in the clubhouse. And speaking of positive developments, can we talk about how drastically the Blue Jays farm system has improved? Kylie McDaniel from ESPN just ranked the Jays farm system 16th in baseball. You might think that's nothing special, but context matters here. Just a couple years ago, before that 2024 trade deadline, the Blue Jays had one of the worst farm systems in all of baseball. They were consistently ranked in the bottom 5, maybe bottom 3. The cupboard was bare. There was no depth, no impact prospects, nothing to get excited about. Fast forward to now, and they're 16th, despite trading away significant pieces. They dealt Ricky Tiedemann, they moved Jackson Horner, they traded away their number 5 overall prospect in Cade Horton for Shane Bieber, who they then extended. They gave up talent at the deadline, and they're still climbing the rankings. That's organizational depth. That's a farm system that's been completely rebuilt from the ground up. McDaniel specifically highlighted Trey Savage as the 14th overall prospect in baseball with one of the highest floors of any recent top 100 prospect. That's insane praise. She also mentioned being high on JoJo Parker, their 2025 first-round pick, projecting him to hit .275 with 20 home runs at the major league level. Then there's Johnny King, Gage Standiford, and she specifically called out Sam Shaw and Juan Sanchez as sleeper infielders with top 100 potential. Juan Sanchez is a name you need to remember. This kid is an absolute beast, and I guarantee you he's going to be a household name in prospect circles within the next year. The stuff he's showing in the lower levels is legitimate top-tier prospect material. And the fact that the Blue Jays have multiple guys like this in their system now is exactly why fans should be excited about the future. This is what sustainable success looks like. You can't just rely on free agency and trades forever. You need to develop talent internally, and the Blue Jays are finally doing that again. It reminds me of the days when Vlad and Bo were coming up, when Nate Pearson was dominating, when there was genuine excitement about the future. We're getting back to that point, except this time, the major league team is also competitive. That's the sweet spot every organization is chasing. The Eloy signing and the farm system improvement are connected in a weird way. They both represent the Blue Jays being smarter about asset management, taking low-risk flyers on guys with upside while also building sustainable organizational depth. That's how you compete for championships over multiple years, not just one magical season. So when spring training rolls around, pay attention to Eloy Jimenez. Watch how he looks in the box, check out his body transformation, see if that bat speed is back. Because if it is, if he's anywhere close to the player he was in 2022, the Blue Jays just added a potential impact bat for literally nothing. And even if he doesn't work out, it cost them nothing to find out. That's the kind of move that separates good front offices from great ones. Low risk, high reward, and nobody's even talking about it. That's exactly how you build a championship roster.